Okay, so now that we are done with the AI topic, and let's move on to the next hype topic, that is Canon R5 and R6, right?
Something much simpler.
Atik knows a lot about cameras, and I have no clue what cameras are.
Yes.
And I framed it in such a bad way. I have little understanding of cameras, but yeah, I'll
That-
let Atik have
That's about it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so if you guys are into cameras, or even if you're not,
Hmm.
you should know that last week, Peter McKinnon, who's a very famous photographer, videographer on YouTube, he revealed or unboxed or unveiled these brand new camera bodies by Canon. All right, these are the R5, which is the premium top of the line, like best. सब कुछ मस्त करता है वो. ठीक है?
How much does it cost?
I'll tell you that later, all right? And the second one is
okay.
the Canon R6, all right, which is a step below it, all right? Why are these cameras so hyped, right? First of all, these are mirrorless cameras, all right? Now, mirrorless cameras are, in a regular DSLR, guys, the light enters through the lens and it falls on a mirror inside the camera body, all right? And from that, वो mirror से bounce होके हम लोग को ऐसा preview दिखता है, right? So what we are seeing is essentially like what is what we are in a DSLR, what we are seeing is an unprocessed image. All right, the light is bouncing on a mirror, it's coming straight into our eyes, so there's no processing, there's no effects or anything on it if we look at it through the viewfinder. All right, most DSLRs have a viewfinder and a screen, and when we look at it through the viewfinder, we are actually looking at a mirror image of what's in front of the lens. In a mirrorless camera, that mirror is not there. All right, so that has two advantages. Okay, yeah, that has two advantages. One is the size and the weight of the camera body itself, right? Mirrorless cameras are way lighter because the whole mirror system is not present in the camera body, and because of that you can like shrink the size also, which essentially is very, very important if you are traveling, which most people with the DSLR are. And the other advantage is that the light falls straight onto the sensor. Because of that, we are able to see the post-processing image, right? We are able to see the end result. Like
so what you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get
camera.
in a mirrorless camera. Yeah, I hope I'm right. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. But as far as I know, this is true. The R5 and R6 are both mirrorless cameras. So they're very thin, very light, and the R5 can shoot at a resolution of 4K 120 frames per second in raw and C-Log. How do I explain this?
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So just a question. When you click a picture with a normal DSLR, the mirror goes down and up. Is that? Oh, तो वो sound रहता है.
Yeah, that's the sound. That's the sound of the shutter.
Oh, so that's why the viewfinder turns off तभी.
Yeah. So the mirror, it goes up and down, and for that second of a time, मतलब एक second के लिए वो light falls onto the sensor, and then the sensor captures that. That's how you take a picture in a DSLR.
Oh, that's why DSLR में you can't use the viewfinder if you're recording a video. That makes so much more sense. I always wondered कि क्या problem है इनको. This is easier to process.
Yeah.
And whatever. I just thought कि the processing of photo or video is so hard that they can't put a viewfinder.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं. No, it's purely because of how it's built, right? It records in 4K resolution, 4 times 1080p. All right, that's 4K essentially. 120 frames per second. That's like very fast.
If you don't know 120 frames a second, come on.
I mean, I can't explain it. You can go Google it, but yeah, it's essentially it's capturing 120. Like when taking video, it's capturing 120 frames per second, which requires a lot of computing power. So, like capturing like 120 frames, and each of those frames is like 4K resolution. So that requires a lot of computing power, and this is probably the only camera that does it right now. And it captures it in RAW, and the RAW format requires even way more storage. Yeah, you can explain RAW. Yeah.
So when you click a picture, what the camera does is click multiple pictures. One is high exposure, one is low exposure, and it will combine those to form a good picture, which is good looking. But in that process, they lose a lot of data. Because if something is white, it becomes clearly white. Like sometimes the sky is overblown or something like that. All the data in that is lost because it was falling on the sensor. You just overexposed it, and to make the picture low in size so that you can share it on social media or something like that, that data is erased, because technically on the screen it's not visible because it's all white to it, but there is data in it. Clouds are different color, thoda grayish color. What raw photo does is it saves all the data that is falling on the sensor. Yeah, that's a lot of data. If you click a raw picture, a single picture is about 30 megabytes, at least from my phone. So when you have all that info, what you can do is you can combine everything. You can put your own color grade and stuff on it. You can color grade just the sky part if you want. And since there is that extra information, it's easier to color grade later.
Yeah.
So that's the gist of it. It's basically saving everything as that it's getting, even though it might be not visible right now. That's the gist of raw photos.
Yep, exactly. So it's taking the 4K resolution, right? And then it's recording at 120 frames, 124K frames at 1 second, and they're in RAW, all right? So the sheer amount of like computing power that is required, that's what makes this camera, the R5, stand out from everybody else. So essentially, guys, C-Log is a color profile which you like set on the camera.
That's easy to edit, basically. Edit and color grade over. Like creators prefer it, I guess.
They definitely prefer it. So
because it's easy to color.
So you can like there's a setting in your camera too. You can tell the camera ki C-Log mein capture kar, and then it records, and then it captures colors in a certain way that it is easier to like manipulate those colors later on when you're editing it, right? So that's the most desired color
is C-Log
profile.
C-Log on Canon only, or is it
universal? It's a universal. It's not a Canon thing only. Like you can put it in your as a kuch nahi. It's not a copyright or anything. But it does. But that has got nothing to do with like performance. The performance just comes from like 4K 120 and what do you call it? RAW. Yeah. And like as I said, no other camera is able to do that. And this R5 is priced at $5,200. $5,600 US dollars. Yeah,
you should mention the dollars, man.
Yeah, no, something crazy like that. And
but $5,200 is not that much.
Yeah, I mean,
like Red ka cameras cost 50K.
Yeah, I know. That is because you can't actually record at 4K 120 RAW for long periods of time, because then your body is gonna overheat, right? And that's one of the
exactly. That is what I was gonna ask. If the body is that small, how is it recording for so long?
Yeah, it can't actually. That's what Peter also brought up in his video. Why Red is priced that way? Because they have like two huge fans inside the body, all right, to cool all that stuff. So that's why they're expensive. And that's why they're heavy. The Red cinema cameras are heavy. Canon C200, they're heavy because they're cinema cameras and they need to be cooled for longer recording periods. Especially when they might be present in such an environment where the weather is hot, there's like hot lights, and in such cases you have to shoot cinema.
Footage might be time sensitive, right? Like
exactly.
You can't just re-record it every time.
That's right. Exactly.
They trust Red so much.
And cinema cameras are completely of their own.
So another point is, if it can't record for long, what is the point of showing off marketing wise? But if it can record RAW at 4K 120 FPS, it will do 4K 30 FPS RAW really well, because it's actually meant to do 120.
That's right.
So that is the point we are trying to make here.
Yes. Also, the fact that it is very, very small, you just go online and go see the size of the damn camera and you'll be really surprised at how small it is and
also,
how much computing
CF
power
Express?
Is. All right. Oh, CF Express. Right. So Canon R5 supports an SD card slot, a regular SD card slot, and a CF Express card slot. All right. So this new CF Express cards, we've talked about it in Unengineered Shots. You can go check it out on IGTV, right? It uses the same memory interface that is used in our laptops. It uses PCI 3, all right? And that is why it is...
PCI Gen 3.
Yeah.
Damn, that must be fast.
Exactly. So, a conventional card, right? Tumhara SD card, it has a maximum speed of 200 Mbps. वो भी एकदम महंगे वाले SD cards, all right? Your QXD cards, महंगे वाले 500 Mbps max. CF Express starts at 1 gigabit per second, all right? It goes up to 4 gigabits per second. Gigabytes, sorry.
Gigabytes per second?
Yeah. Up to 4 gigabytes per second because it has 4 lanes of PCI 3. So 1 GB, 1 GB, 1 GB, 1 GB, 4 GB, effectively 4 gigabytes per second
Damn.
speed. Yeah, and this is just PCI
That
3.
is really
This is just
fast.
PCI 3. They adapt. It's possible for them to go to PCI 4, and it's gonna increase even further. So yeah.
Like we have reached a point where they won't have to innovate
Yeah,
storage tech for a long period of time.
Exactly. This is why CF Express has been adopted. So there's also standardization, right? There will be a point where, see, this is the next SD card. Right now, everybody's using SD card, so it's a standardized, storage format. Now, I think 5 years down the line, CF Express has the potential to be standardized, and so instead of like an SD card slot in our laptops, we'll get a CF Express card slot.
I don't think Apple's gonna do it.
Alright, like Apple nahi dega, bhai. Let's see. Wo dekha jayega. It's just an estimation. So that's the goal of like making a CF
any
Express
other
card.
port is ever gonna be in a MacBook except
Thunderbolt. Iske baad to nahi.
For a long period of time.
No. I don't think so. Unless there's I'll be very surprised if they put anything in a laptop for however long Apple exists. I don't think they're gonna put a Thunderbolt 4 डाल देंगे वो लोग.
Oh हाँ, the next USB standard they'll put.
Yeah, they'll put
and remove the पिछला वाला सब.
सब कुछ
अभी
निकाल
USB 4 आ गया था Thunderbolt 4 के साथ, and then just remove everything and then move.
Yeah. But we're not talking about that. But we'll move. Okay, so that's the best and the greatest. Canon R5 4K 120 RAW, small, portable, light, mirrorless. The step down is the Canon R6. All right, it retails for around 36.
How is R6 the step down?
It is a step down. So I was very confused initially also, but if you the Canon का naming convention वैसा ही है, it's very confusing. All right, so it's Canon 200D. If you look, it's around 50,000 rupees. All right, you go down Canon 7D, Canon 6D, Canon 5D, Canon 1D. As the numbers go down, the price increases and the functionality increases.
So R1 is the best camera they have, or there is no R1.
I don't know. I don't know the R series.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's very confusing. I just know that D. That's the regular. I don't know, man. It's very confusing. But yeah, उनका D series का तो ऐसा ही है, and it looks like that for the R series also. So I don't know R3, R1 मैं सुना नहीं है, but R5, R6 has come out. So the R6 is a step down, and it cannot obviously do 4K 120 RAW, but it can do 4K 30, I think. Also, the megapixel count on the R6 is 45, which is quite a lot, right? Even like most cameras nowadays have no more than 24 or 25, and expensive ones don't have more than that. But the Canon R5 at $5,700 has 45 megapixels. The R6 has 20 megapixels at $3,600.
But why don't these cameras have high megapixel count if they can?
Because
is there a point of diminishing returns or loss होता है कहीं पे आगे?
I don't know, but I've noted a very drastic relation between cost and megapixel in this very case, right? You like to reduce the cost, they have halved the number of megapixels.
But that doesn't make sense. I know the megapixel to picture quality ratio is not that great, but as a some level pay.
No, actually at some level it is. It is at least in like proper DSLR cameras, good enough for like professional.
Good.
Yeah. So that is why even the 200D has like a 20 megapixel or 24 megapixel.
I've seen some cameras that just go 20.1. Like
20.1.
Making it
20.1. Yeah.
They're just like YouTubers. 10 minutes 1 second, 8 minutes 1 second a week.
Great point. So the R6 has a megapixel count of like literally half, 20, 24 or 20 something. So they've cut down the cost also by a big margin. And it obviously cannot do 4K 120 RAW, but it can do 4K 30 pretty well. And yeah, for people who are like, oh, meko utna nahi chahiye, you can just go ahead and buy like the R6. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like this, like
there's nothing. It's a nonchalant. If you don't need this, you can just buy the R6.
Yeah, if you don't want to put like 50, तुमको $6,000 या $5,500 नहीं डाल रहा है, तुमको $3,500 डालना है, you can go for R6. Also, the R6 does not support CF Express because it does not need CF Express cards. That's pretty much it.
The reason they don't include it is, I think CF Express will be costlier than SD card.
Quite costly.
Yeah, so just to bring the price a little more down, they just forego the CF.
Also because the recording capabilities of like the R6 do not need right speed.
Yeah, exactly. SD card can fulfill it.
Exactly. That's it for the
Don't know what that is.
topic right now. That was the Canon R6 and R5. Sorry to all the Nikon users out there, but I've never respected Nikon as a camera company. It's just that the
मैंने as a name उनको respect नहीं किया. I just didn't like the name they put it. Like Canon, Sony, Nikon. What? Is your?
Oh God, I'm so sorry. I
तो
don't
check
know.
कर ले एक बार.
It's just that the way the cameras feel, the build. I don't know, man. I really don't know what it is. But
We're just gonna have a bunch of Nikon fans roasting us as like, oh, you don't know, so can't describe RAW. Talk about Nikon. I'm like, you can't record RAW. Shut up.
I don't know whether Nikon can record RAW, but I don't know, man. The Canon cameras
with a name like that, I don't think it can. Sorry.
We're just hating on Nikon at this point. Nikon, please sponsor this podcast.
Why would they?
I'm kidding.
You know, in the future, we're gonna buy a lot of cameras and we're gonna like this video is sponsored by Nikon, and then we just put this segment in.
Oh my God! I hope the sponsorship should happen. We shouldn't put the segment in.
पैसा चाहिए बस उसको.
Oh God. Yeah, but Canon cameras just feel way more premium for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's the build quality, the leather, the material they use, the way they build it. I don't know what it is, but
Canon is basically your Apple, right?
Yeah, it's actually. Oh my God, I hate to say that, but yeah, it is. What?
Yes, you don't know what it is, but it's great.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an iPhone SE in one hand and a Samsung.
You messed.
In the other hand. No offense to Samsung.
Is nice.
No offense to Samsung. But
हमारा पूरा video ये है ना, no offense to this guy and then offending them.
I don't know why the iPhone feels good. Like both of them are great in their price segment, but this one feels good.
That logo feels good, man.
Shit.
Let's move on to the. I guess we concluded with this topic. Now we are out of point. We are just roasting camera companies now. Next topic. It's